Hi guys, I hope you are in good health. I also hope all this will be over in no time and we will be able to meet again. So this is another grammar lesson. It's about restrictive and non-restrictive clauses. And if you look at the title of the lesson, you may feel like it's a difficult lesson. It's really complicated, but I assure you it's not. It's not really difficult. So just try to pay attention, and I promise by the end everything will be clear, inshallah. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is to know what's the relation between restrictive, non-restrictive, and relative clauses. Okay. So the first thing, uh, both restrictive and non-restrictive clauses are relative clauses. So all of those types of clauses, restrictive and non-restrictive, are relative clauses. What do you mean by a relative clause? It's one that contains a relative pronoun, and we know the relative pronouns we have in English are who, which, that, whom, and whose. So the first one, who, is usually used to refer to a person, to people, okay? As in the example, the astronaut who first stepped on the moon was Neil Armstrong. Which is usually used to refer to objects, to refer to something, okay? So this is the jacket which I have bought from the mall. um, that could be used to refer to both objects and people, okay? So we could have a discussion about that later, inshallah, but just for the sake of simplicity, just to keep things simple, let's say that could replace which and who in the first two examples, okay? So to refer both to objects and people at the same time. Whose is used to talk about possession, okay? As in the example, the boy whose father is a teacher got the first mark in class. The last one is whom, and whom is usually used to refer to a person, but this person is the object in the sentence. The person is either the object of the verb or the object of a preposition, okay? So in this example, I do not know with whom I will go to the party. So we are using whom because we are referring to someone who is the object of the preposition with, and we know we have some other examples of prepositions like to, like for, like in and on and so on, okay? Now you may ask yourself, what's the difference, okay, between restrictive and non-restrictive clauses? So I think we start with non-restrictive clauses because I believe they are a little bit easier to understand, okay? So a non-restrictive clause just adds more information. It is not essential to the meaning of the whole sentence. It is set off by commas. So we put the non-restrictive clause between two commas. So it's not essential to the meaning of the whole sentence, meaning that we could remove the non-restrictive clause and not really affect the meaning or change the meaning of the sentence. So here are some examples. David, who just graduated from high school, is a talented football player. Hamlet, which is a very good play, was written by Shakespeare. My friend Mark, whose dog died 2 months ago, decided to get a new pet today. So in those three examples, if we remove the non-restrictive clause, which is colored in yellow, so the meaning of the sentence is almost the same. It almost doesn't change, okay? But with the restrictive clause, things are different. So a restrictive clause is essential to the meaning of the sentence. So it's really important to the meaning of the sentence. Why? Because it restricts, it limits the meaning of the sentence, okay? And it's not set off by commas. So this is the difference between restrictive and non-restrictive clauses. Non-restrictive are set off by commas, so we put them between two commas, but with restrictive clauses we don't use the commas, okay? And the thing with the restrictive clauses, they are important to the meaning of the sentence, because if we remove the restrictive clauses, we do change the meaning of the whole sentence. So which means restrictive clauses are very important to the meaning of the sentence because they restrict, they limit the meaning, they specify something in the in the sentence, okay? As in these examples, so students who get very good marks will be able to have good jobs in the future, okay? So if we remove the restrictive clause in yellow, so we can be sure that the meaning of the sentence will change, because in this example we're not just talking about any students or all students. No, we are specifying, we are restricting, we are limiting the meaning. We're talking about those students who get very good marks. Okay. The second example, the old lady that lives next door has lost her cat. Okay. Again, how does the restrictive clause restrict, limit the meaning? How does it specify? Because in this sentence, we're not talking about just any old lady. No, no, no. We're talking about the one that lives next door. Okay. Number three, the man whose car is blue is very nice. Again, we're not talking about any man, okay, or man in general. No, we are talking about the one who has a car which is blue, whose car is blue. So that restricts, limits, specifies the meaning of the whole sentence. Okay. So for practice, I think the exercises you have in the book are enough, are good enough, okay, to practice restrictive and non-restrictive clauses. So I'll ask you please to go to page 149 in the book, in the textbook, and do exercises 5 and 6. And again, I think in 1 or 2 days time I will post another video in which we correct the two exercises. So please be safe, stay home, and I hope we will meet again very soon, inshallah. Okay, so peace.